Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel D Creations Resources. We are looking at different aspects of research methodology. Now, apart from research publications, there's another important kind of document that all the researchers should be aware of, irrespective of whether they would be using it with their own research or not, and that is called a patent. Now, a patent comes under intellectual property rights. So, let's first understand what are intellectual property rights, and then in the later episodes, we can go to patents. So, what is intellectual property? You can see that there are two words, intellectual and property. Now, when I say property, what do you remember? Well, on a lighter note, some of you might say that you remember the dialogue from the famous movie Diwar, where Amitabh Bachchan says that मेरे पास प्रॉपर्टी है, बंगला है, बिल्डिंग है, बैंक बैलेंस है, गाड़ी है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास? So, which essentially means that I have bungalows and cars and buildings, etc. That kind of property. And what do you have? So, obviously, he is talking about physical property there, right? But when you say intellectual property, it is different from this kind of physical property. In fact, there's a word tangible, okay, so which we associate with physical property. And physical property is different from intellectual property because it exists in the physical shape, and it's not intangible like intellectual property, which is, you can say, it's creation of human mind. Because see, intellectual, what does this word remind you of? It reminds you of creativity, innovation, and several things, right? So physical property is going to include physical resources from metals or construction material, because there's a physical existence, and it can be private or it can be public, etc. But of course, intellectual property is not going to require those kind of resources, and it's going to be private because it belongs to a particular person, or in some cases it can belong to companies or institution as well. So, intellectual property is something which you are applying your mind to and creating something new, right? And it's intangible. That means you can't really perceive it by touching. You might also say that intellectual property is product of our intellect. So now with property, there is a sense of owning or possession, right? So you can say that intellectual property is a product of the mind that can be owned, or an intellectual product over which the owner can exercise the exclusive rights of possession as well as disposal. The creations of mind can be of different kind. There could be inventions, or there could be literary and artistic works, designs, symbols, names, and particular images used for a certain product. Now, when you have a physical property, you can guard it, right? There is a protection which you can provide, a physical protection. Now, even intellectual property is protected by law, and you can protect it via different types such as patents, copyrights, trademarks, etc. So, there are types of intellectual property. There are patents, as I said, copyrights and trademarks. Apart from that, there are industrial designs, geographical indications, trade secrets, integrated circuits. Each one of them has its own importance. For example, if you look at copyright, now I'm sure you must be familiar with it. You must have seen that symbol, right? There's a circle, and inside that there is a C, letter C written. So it's the legal term which is used for describing the rights that creators have over their literary and artistic works. So, when I say literary and artistic works, what all can come under it? Books can come under that, or paintings, even music, or some sculpture, films, even computer programs or advertisements, technical databases, all that can be covered under copyright. In fact, the word right is included in the word copyright. So, it's a right granted to the owner of the intellectual property. Suppose if it's an author who has written a book, then that author gets the authority to decide when and where his work or her work can be used by someone. So no one can try to duplicate this work or republish it somewhere without the consent of this author, if the author has a copyright over the book he or she has written. The author deserves it because the author can say that it's done by thinking independently, and I have put in a lot of hard work to do that. So someone can't just, try to duplicate it and take the credit for it. Now let's go to trademark. What is a trademark? Trademark for a service or for a product is basically the recognition that customers have for that in the market, and that trademark distinguishes you from your competitors. So it could be any word, phrase, or symbol, or design, or even a combination of these. And that is basically the identification for whatever goods you have or for whatever services you have. To give you a simple example, if you think of McDonald's, the place where you go for eating burgers and all, when you say that, what you immediately recollect is those golden arches, right? The design made from golden arches, yellow M, so as to say. So that is the trademark of McDonald. Or Google has its own trademark. When you say type www.google.com, what do you see? You see this word coming up where G is written, both the G's are written in a blue color, first one of course in capital, and then O and E is written in red color, another O is written in yellow color, and then L is written in green color. So that's the image that immediately comes to your mind, isn't it? Or for example, Facebook, you have a blue kind of a background on which Facebook is written in white letters. So there are several trademarks, and I'm sure now that you know about it, wherever you will go, you will notice that. For example, even if you go for shopping, you want to buy shoes, then if you want to buy Nike shoes, immediately you know how to recognize that, isn't it? So in the next episode, let us get to know about some more kinds of intellectual property, and then eventually we'll move on to patents. Thank you.